Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the day two of sixth edition for Waste to Energy virtual conference. We are grateful that you have joined us again, and we really look forward for your participation and presence for the entire day. I would like to tell everyone that yesterday we inaugurated the sixth edition of Waste to Energy and 11th edition of Gasification India, which are our annual signature properties. With in the presence of Sri Tarun Kumarji, Secretary from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, where he accompanied by Sri S.M. Vaidyaji, Chairman for IOCL. Along with him, we saw a presence of Sri Rakesh Kumarji, who's a CMD Chairman for NLC India. Along with him, there was a wonderful keynote session from Mr. Naveen Jindal, Chairman for JSPL. Along with that, we had a wonderful keynote address from Dr. Sameer Sarhan, COO Air Products, and Sri Binay Dayalji, Director Technical from Coal India Limited. After that, from Waste to Energy on day one, we saw a wonderful highlight panel discussion where we were accompanied by Colonel Monish Ahuja and strong representations from Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Council of Environment, Water and Energy, and along with that, few other senior officials. After that, we saw wonderful presentations, technology presentations from NTPC, IOCL, Reliance Industries. Along with them, we saw Exxon Solutions joining us, sharing their best solutions and practices and technologies with Johnson's Chemicals, Avantgarde Systems and Control System, SMS Envocare, and we had a wonderful speech from Dr. Arun Qasba, Senior Advisor IRADe and former Commissioner of Srinagar Municipal Corporation, who has joined us today. Moving forward to day two, we are starting with a highlight panel discussion where we are going to talk about current status of waste to energy infrastructure in India. And for that, we are joined with Mr. Abhay Kantak, who's the Director for Urban Practices at CRISIL Infrastructure Advisory. Along with him, we have Dr. G.P. Subash, who's a technical advisor for Mahindra Waste to Energy Solutions and founder Asbritech. Then we have Dr. G.N. Qasba, who's a senior advisor IRADe and former commissioner Srinagar Municipal Corporation. And we have Dr. A.R. Shukla, who's a president from Indian Biogas Association. We are very soon will be joined by Mr. Nitin Shete from Praj Industries. In the meanwhile, I would request all the panelists to turn on their videos and I hand over the stage to Mr. Kantak.
Yeah, good morning, everybody, and thanks, Akshay, for this. Thanks for the panelists for taking time and sharing their perspectives on the waste to energy infrastructure. What we have here is a good mix of panelists, and the challenge of waste to energy, will require the government, the advisors, the industry, and the consumer groups to come together and solve this problem. The municipal waste generation in India, which I'm very familiar with, is around 60 million tons every year, and that poses a significant environmental challenge. We know that many cities, or largely all cities in India, do not have a processing and disposal facility, and waste to energy can be one solution for disposal. So what I will do now is invite each panelist to speak for 5 to 7 minutes, give their perspective on the waste to energy infrastructure in India. Once all the panelists have spoken, then we can have some discussion on the issues that have been raised, followed by opening the floor for some question and answer session. And in the last, we will have 3 to 4 minutes for every panelist for concluding this session. So let me start with Dr. Qasba as a senior advisor to the Integrated Research and Action for Development Agency. So thank you for joining, Dr. Qasba, and I leave the floor to you to talk about your perspective on this subject.
Thank you very much. It is a matter of pleasure to be again on this session. Yesterday we had a wonderful session and we had a very good interaction with the industry leaders and scientists and experts on waste energy. And as for the today's topic for discussion is that what is the current status of infrastructure in India. I think as for waste to energy program is concerned, if we just have a look at the last 1 decade, the projects under JNURM were sanctioned in a number of states, including the Jammu and Kashmir. And but perhaps because of some of the technology lacunas and some of the projects which have been grounded on the waste energy front have not yielded those desired results, and plants have not been really performing up to the mark as per the envisaged project proposals. But what I see now hereafter, that their technologies are now getting perfected, but again, absolute perfection is not available. But as for the waste management is concerned, I would again come back to the waste management rules of 2016, which are very holistic in nature and cover an entire gamut of the issues which the country is facing on the waste management front. In fact, one of the very important uh, facets, important point in these waste management rules, it used to be called earlier as the municipal solid waste management rules. Now, the word has been municipal has been taken away because all the areas which used to come under cities and towns by the local bodies and municipal corporations, now even panchayats, villages, these rules would apply to the entire area where the people live and generate waste. Waste continues to be a huge problem. It is one of the biggest challenges if country, both in the living habitats and landfills is concerned. It's a big challenge, and in fact, once a big challenge is there, it needs a big solution. We have been seeing these waste management rules of 2016, which were prescribed in 2016, and a 1 year was provided that uh, these rules would be in fact enforced from April
हेलो
2017. 1 year was given.
आ गया
One
ठीक है
one complete one complete year was given for the states and the union territories to get in a state of readiness. But we see that these rules have not been followed in the strict sense. What I feel is very important, that Ministry of Urban Development and Ministry of Environment and Forest and Central Pollution Control Board and the State Pollution Control Board shall have to take a call on the enforcing these rules. Enforcing has to be more stricter. Unless until in a strict sense enforcement is there, I do not foresee any headway. That's number one. And as for these rules are concerned, and all the solutions have been emphasized, right from the landfill site, how the landfill sites have to be managed, landfill sites have to be maintained in a most scientific manner, leachate treatment plants have to be provided, then there has to be composting is very important facets of these waste management rules. And in fact, Ministry of Fertilizer first time has been roped in municipal solid waste, and including the Ministry of Petroleum also, because waste biomethanation and waste energy incineration has also been prescribed in these rules. But as for the other aspects, even managing a scientific landfill site is a big issue, is a far cry. We have been seeing there is a huge public outcries around the areas we have the landfill sites. We, in fact, require landfill sites despite the fact we make technological progresses. I would come to the point again. As far as landfill sites are concerned, these sites are available at the periphery of the states, and although there is a prescription that where the landfill site has to be, and the habitations have not to come around that, it's very important that this has to be that half a kilometer around the landfill is not habitated. But we see that there is encroachment, people keep on constructing and people start living around, and then we see in Srinagar Achan landfill site lot of habitation has come between 2008 to 1986 and 2000. We have seen the remote sensing imageries. Now, what's important that people start making issues, and in fact, at one stage, there was a huge cry in Srinagar city that it should be shifted from the place. But where you would get 1,000 canals of land in the Srinagar, or for that matter any metropole city in the country, it is very important landfill sites have to be maintained. And landfill sites, we have a major challenges of the odor control. And odor control is a issue which is not being addressed in its right earnest. But Municipal Corporation Srinagar found a solution in collaboration with the Excel Industries Mumbai, and a product Sanitrit has really given a huge comfort to the managing the landfill site. Now, as for, I would come to the other aspects. As for the composting is concerned, composting, Ministry of Urban Development shall have to come with the comfortable uh, support systems to the states and the union territories. And now the panchayats are the new players in this entire game. They will have to also be done hand handling, both in terms of technology and in terms of the support, financial support. That has to be addressed in a big way. And as for the waste to energy programs are concerned, Ministry of Urban Development has approved many states the projects, including Jammu and Kashmir, waste to energy projects. But there are some glitches, there are some hinges which do not allow the progress on account of many hurdles. One could be that buyback policy of the states and the union territories. That what would be the cost of the power, and which has to be sustainable. What sort of public-private relationship has to be there? That's very important. Second thing is how efficient the technology is. Then subsequently, and another important issue is that, in fact, even if you have the best solutions as for waste to energy is concerned, as we see in the Europe, you need landfill sites. And what should be the structure and the technology for the landfill sites which would cater to the need of the waste to energy projects? That's important. And it has to be in a very phased manner. How much of waste would go into the waste to energy? How much of waste would go in the composting? How much it would be sent for recycling and reprocessing? And in fact, I would emphasize there has to be an integrated approach to the waste management strategy. We will have to have a fresh look on the policies, both at the federal level and at the state level. Now, the Ministry of Rural Development and Panchayats should also be roped in view of the waste management rules of 2016, because panchayats also have a huge role. What municipal corporations and municipal councils perform, what meeting, what job they perform in towns and cities, the same has to be done by the panchayats in their villages, in their area of operation. So we need to have a fresh look at the issues, and the industries which are promoting this waste to energy in a big way. I would say that next 10 years are going to be really challenging and are going to be happening years. And as we foresee that last one decade has been the decade of issues, identification of problems. The next decade has to be the identification of solutions and grounding of the facilities. And I think Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Ministry of Urban Development shall have to take a call, make sure that rules are enforced and proper technologies and are available to the states and union territories with the capital support and comfortable capital support, because all these technologies are a very capital intensive. uh, unless until support system is there, I don't think that there could be any future for waste to energy in the next coming 2 3 years. And it is very important to look at the things from a holistic point of view. As for private public partnership is concerned, you could go for private public partnership as for the operating of these plants is concerned, but establishing the plants has to be support given as a one-time grant to the states and union territories, and that would see a big movement on this fact. Thank you very much. I would, as and when issues are there emerging in the panel discussion, I would like to also participate. But these were my some of the opening views in my mind, out of my experience, out what we do at IRADe, that I place it before you. Thank you very much.
So, Dr. Qasba, thank you very much for a very enlightening talk. You covered issues of technology, enforcement, financing. That was very good to a good start for this discussion. Now I invite Dr. Subash to give his perspective for the next 5 to 6 minutes on the key issues that he feels confront the waste to energy infrastructure in the country. Dr. Subash, please.
So thank you. So thanks for the opportunity to present my uh, views on this. See, actually, in India, if you take the waste to energy, the meaning of waste to energy here is in two different pathways I can see here. One is this mainly on the technologies like incineration, gasification, and the pyrolysis routes, what it's happening in India. And another one is the bio-CNG routes. Okay, so I mainly works on bio-CNG projects across India. So I can talk mainly on this, what kind of thing is at present and what is the future and how it will be. So here in India, actually, these all mainly, especially the waste, if you call, there are different kind of waste. So it may be a municipal waste, it may be agricultural waste, or it may be industrial waste, or even some dairy and other industries. Okay, so in this, in India at present, the momentum came, I think, later on. This SWM 2016 rule has been enforced by the government. So this SWM 2016 rules, actually it enforces the law that if any vendor or any bulk waste generators, they are generating a particular waste, you can say more than 10 to 100 kgs, so they have to dispose there by own. So there comes actually this bio CNG and other technology plays a good role over there. So and other problem like the paddy straw burning, that is stubble burning in you can say the northern part of India. So there, this October to this November month, usually we have this lot of pollution and other related issues. So this excellent solution will be a bio CNG route. Of course, there will be incinerator route and other things, but as I said, I want to mainly discuss on this. So bio CNG really provides a good technological solution. So here in India, you can say the paddy straw, mainly it's a booming one actually. At present in India, there is no big projects which is working on mainly converting paddy straw into energy. Of course, there is some boilers and other route, that is electricity production routes. People are using it. Mainly, the availability of raw material is a question mark because it's available abundantly in the field, but whether it's available to you is a question mark. So that is what I see. And technological wise, now of course now the technology has been improved and a lot of technologies to break the lignin, and we can able to use it in the what do you call the production of biogas and other things. Similarly, if you come to SWM, that is this 2016 rule and enforcement of the processing, I think now NGT is playing a major role in the states enforcing the law. So here, especially in southern states, we are very much under pressure from NGT to go ahead with all the processing. So now the government has been awakened and they are allotting the so many projects and PPP mode and other mode to go ahead. So frankly speaking, in bio CNG previously there was no much momentum, and I think the momentum starts now. Even we have installed more than you can say around 100, around 10 projects across India on waste to energy, and especially on municipal solid waste. Here the main challenge is actually the availability of again the waste. The technology and everything, of course, is good and there is no much issues we can face. But there is a slight what you call the variation between Indian and the technology available in the countries like German, Denmark, and Sweden, all these places. But of course now it has been improved a lot, and commercial scale bio CNG projects are in operations now. And main thing, what is the support we required from government, other agencies, mainly the clearances. For example, say the single window clearances. See, if you go to the any MSW projects, the major issue is the availability of the land and then approval process. So there should be some single window clearance is required for these kind of projects, and especially if you go to the land allotment or the purchase, so you cannot buy any land for waste to energy projects because of the public agitation at present. So that perspective we need to change, and that is why the government needs to allot some land for these kind of projects. So even a lot of people are interested to they are interested to invest on these projects, and you can say there is a decent IRR, ROI, whatever the returns is required, that people are being now we can able to guarantee you. But only thing is these government and other policies needs to be done, and then availability of good quality waste. Okay, so even in the incinerator somewhere, so if it is RDF material is available, it is good for the incinerator plant, but it's a mixed waste. So the source segregation is a key. But at present, even the technological improvement, even there is no source segregation, maybe 20-30% segregation level is also enough. At least now we can go ahead with all bio-CNG projects by automatic segregation systems. And main at last, what I want to summarize for this, the government support, and then at least the grant. Now the infrastructure from the either the municipal corporation or from the government, there should be a capital grant. So at present there is a grant, but I think it's not sufficient, and moreover the price what we are getting for our gas for under the Satar scheme needs to be increased, because it's really it's very difficult to sell the gas at particular price. With that we cannot able to recover the capital cost. So I request the panelists to I think discuss on these things also, then I think there will be a good solution for this. So thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Subash. I think that was very encouraging that you have launched 10 projects in the country on municipal solid waste, and getting the waste available to you, you feel is a challenge. I think if the process gets streamlined, I think we should have a much larger number of projects coming from firms like yours. So thanks for your perspective. Now I invite Dr. Shukla to share his perspective on this matter for the next 5 to 6 minutes. Dr. Shukla, please.
Good morning to all the panelists, organizers, and all the participants in this webinar today. This subject is very old, and it continues to be very new also, because the challenges which have been posed by the waste generation projects across the globe couldn't be solved. And whatever solutions have been used in different countries, we have in India, we have also been following in the similar manner. But the basic problem which was there and to continue to be there, that the waste is generated, and those who are generating the waste, they are not responsible for getting it disposed. Earlier, when it was a decentralized system, people were living in villages, then they were having their own system of waste disposal, waste collection, and waste handling, and also waste utilization. Now in urbanization, globally that has been lost. The responsibility of waste handling and waste segregation, waste utilization, waste disposal lies with the governmental organizations or the setup created by the government under the private partnership or under any other arrangement or the NGO section. Now that is the problem. Therefore, unless we address this basic issue that the generators of the waste or the producers of the waste are equally responsible, and they are to be made responsible for handling their waste. Now for that we have to have some novel method, and we can have the carrot and stick approach for that. Suppose if somebody is not segregating his waste or her waste, then certain facilities, the civic facilities, will not be provided. Like the water supply will not be there, electricity supply will not be there, or any other such facility will not be there. So that is the penalty which the governmental system, the municipal system can impose. And the other one is that if they are doing that, if they are segregating their waste, then they are getting some rewards also. So some, for example, if there is a LPG the gas supply, or somewhere there is a PNG gas supply, or electricity supply, then they have to be given incentives. 1%, 2%, 3% incentive is given every month on the gas bill or on the electricity bill. So that is the carrot, and stick is that if that is not provided, then these connections will be either the gas or electricity or water connections are going to be disconnected. So these kind of strict measures are there, and for that, for example, the Mahindra Subash has said that he's having a problem of the waste itself. They can set up a plant. Technology is there within the country. If somebody wants to import it, no problem, they can import it. But since I have launched this integrated project for biogas generation, purification and bottling from Ministry of New and Renewable Energy in 2008, and made the policy including the BIS standard for the biogas biomethanation. So I have been having this kind of problem, and I visualized the solutions for that. And therefore, I found that if both the methods are applied, then we can solve this problem. Otherwise, what will happen that we'll set up the project, first the clearances, 2 is the cost, and 3 is the operation and maintenance, and of course the foremost the land. Now the land will continue to be a problem because any organization who wants to set up any such project, they want huge land for their strategic needs. Suppose they have set up a project, they will have huge land so that they can utilize for the project and otherwise also. So therefore, the having the big plants in any city is not really the solution. First, to create mess of out of the waste, and then after the mess has been created, then you start handling it. So first to create the mess, mix everything at the household level, at the industry level, at the restaurant level, and after mixing, then you transport it to a centralized location. You get huge land for that, for collection of the waste, and then you have big imported machines for segregation, automated or the manual segregation that you start doing. And ultimately, the entire thing becomes unmanageable and uneconomically unviable. If suppose you are going to have a big plant, then obviously, as Subash has said, any city in Delhi, Mumbai, everywhere where you want to have a new plant, then people around are going to object to that because you are going to create the nuisance. So therefore, the approach could be that you go for the already available setups of the municipality, whatever land is available, you attempt to manage your waste within that. And the waste collected at that location, that it be highly decentralized, waste collected at that location is handled in 2 to 3 hours time. Whatever segregation you have to do, processing you have to do, feeding to the bio-CNG, biogas plant, everything you do in 2 to 3 hours. So by lunchtime, suppose you got your waste in the morning, everything is handled and then nothing is available. And the foul smell, etc. is also not available, technology used in that manner. So therefore, that is really the ideal requirement, and unless we do that, we won't be handling the problem. The segregation at source, and the company which is responsible for setting up the plant, they are also to be made responsible for getting the waste collected as per the quality required by them for their plant. And it's not only loose and leafy biomass waste, but also the woody biomass waste, because in each city, the parks are there, gardens are there, roots or trees are there. That woody material is also available. That is also to be handled, and it is either burnt or it is left. Logs and woods are available along these parks, along the routes, and they are not taken care of, and they rot in that, create the ugly situation. So therefore, for the solid biomass waste handling, the technology is available for that. We can make a pellet, briquette and all, and then use it as the solid fuel for different solid fuel applications. And systems are available within the country to handle these pellets. So for solid woody material, and then for the loose and liquid biomass waste, whatever is available, we can go for the bio-CNG route. But segregation is a must, and whatever organic fertilizer we are creating, that organic fertilizer is also to be away from the lead and all that of chemical waste which are available in the city waste. So that is to be segregated so that the biofertilizer, organic fertilizer generated, it is utilized. So with that, initially it's my brief my intervention to this discussion. I hope we'll be able to appreciate these issues.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla, for highlighting a lot of the operational issues and putting penalties on citizens for non-compliance and asking the municipal corporations to enforce these rules. So very pertinent points, and thank you for that perspective. So now we have been joined by the fourth panelist, Mr. Nitin Shete. He's the Vice President from Praj Industries. Mr. Nitin, I would invite you to share your perspective in the next 4 to 5 minutes before we start discussing, the views that the panelists presented. Mr. Nitin Shete, please.
Thank you so much. Would you like me to participate in the discussion now? Because
Yeah, you can just for next 3 to 4 minutes, maybe your perspectives on the waste to energy infrastructure in the country.
all right. Our perspective is very simple. As you know, Praj Industries, my company, is one of the globally leading companies in biofuels. And very simply, when I see our journey for last 35 years that I'm associated with the company, it was the break point came in 2008 with subprime crisis, and where the oil prices shot up to $140, etc. And that's where a lot of biofuels became the way of life in most of the world, including the western side as well as eastern side of India. And even India took a major initiative. But the big question, and I remember that time that I had visited Rome, where there was a very big conference of United Nations, and the debate was food versus fuel. And one of the thematic that came out of this, where all countries' agricultural ministers also were present, and it was suggested that one should look at replacing fossil fuels, but not from the food grains or food quality feedstocks, but all the lignocellulose or any other waste which is available and which needs to be disposed safely for the environment and also valorized for its its content, should be looked at as a major feedstock. And from there, this theme worldwide has come up in the form of bioenergy, where we are the leading participants. And today we classify most of the waste coming out, for instance, be it MSW, which is a major challenge for the growing cities. It could be agricultural residues in Punjab and Haryana. We are all aware about those challenges to the environment. And also chicken litter, cow dung, industrial waste from sugar mills like distilleries, spent wash, etc., which cause challenges to the environment. If they can be gainfully converted into energy, and especially they have the potential to get converted into a quality of energy, because what we feel is the quality of energy is very important. There are applications where electricity is best fitted. There are applications where you need liquid fuels like transportation. So every form of energy has a place, and they sit beside one another. And our outlook has been that the transportation fuels, if they are converted into renewable biofuels and displace the fossil fuels, this waste and its organic content can be very gainfully utilized. And today we are installing several plants, 4 of them for the oil manufacturing companies, to convert rice straw into ethanol, very large plants. Punjab, Haryana, all the places. We are installing the compressed biogas plants, which utilize industrial waste like spent wash or sugar mill press mud or MSW. And these are going to produce the high quality, clean, renewable biofuels or bioenergy. I think amongst several themes and technologies that exist and coexist in the world, the biofuels from waste or organic solid waste sources is one of the vital and useful theme which can be implemented to gain benefits like circular economy, improving farmers' income, rural employment, and at the same time becoming self-sufficient while cleaning our environment. So let us not look at waste as waste, but let us look at waste as assets, is what I would say on behalf of Praj. Thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Shete, for very encouraging perspective of the waste to energy market, and that your company is well geared to meet the challenges of creating this very environmentally friendly fuel and energy. We had all the participants sharing their perspective, and I will just come to Dr. Qasba. He mentioned that there were technology lacunae that has resulted in many projects not being so successful. My question is that with cities not able to segregate waste and what comes at the waste to energy site, uh, is unsegregated waste a challenge for waste to energy projects?
Thank you, Mr. Akshay. Now, I mentioned about the solid waste management rules of 2016. And in fact, the major challenge is enforcing of these rules. And one of the worthy speakers and mentioned that NGT is taking a lead role in that. And NGT can't come in individual cases. How many? It's quite procedural. I think something has to be inbuilt in these rules, where in the states and especially now the as per the solid waste management rules, responsibility of segregation was earlier with the local bodies and municipalities. Now it has now been shifted to user. Now, how to make a user to comply these rules? I think that's a big challenge. Segregation is not taking place in a right earnest as envisaged in the rules. We may have to accept it. Then at the same time, we would also see that landfill sites are stinky. Landfill sites we have been not been able to maintain in a very healthy state, in a very scientific state. Leachate treatment is not taking place. Groundwater is getting affected. And we see people, population living around and even far away, even 7-8 kilometers far away from landfill sites. There's a huge smell. There's a rotten smell emanating from these landfill sites. Whenever there is a bulldozing of the waste and new layer of soil is laid as per the prescribed norms for landfill sites, there's a huge emission of the gush of gases which covers, and we have in fact even some hospitals also around that, not that close by but 4-5 kilometers away. Even those have been complaining. I think odor control is not given a right priority in these waste management strategies. Odor control in the sense that you go anywhere, whether there is a small space. I have visited many places in the country that wherever there is a small space or something, it emanates very foul smell. Before you put it in the composter, before you put the waste into the machine, or before you get this waste and bring it to the waste to energy plants. Gazipur, you could see, even if you are moving in a taxi or a vehicle or any other vehicle, you could find, if your eyes are shut, you can say, yes, I have reached a landfill site. So it is very important that people will be very happy to provide land around, and even entrepreneurs under rules are being encouraged under being 2000, that even entrepreneurs can come and can establish waste management, waste to energy, waste to compost facilities. Entrepreneurs can come, but that means it could even come up in industrial estates. But what's important that whether these operations are clean, whether operations are people friendly. Now, main problem is, as the gentleman mentioned, that land is a big issue. That people are, even if you talk about a landfill site or even any other waste management infrastructure, there's a cry from that area, not in this area, despite the fact that area produces a lot of waste. So
Understand. So, Dr. Qasba, so that's, I think, thanks for that perspective. And,
water control is very important in any
absolutely.
waste management strategy.
Absolutely, sir. That's very valid points. I would like to invite Dr. Subash, where he mentioned that he's put up 10 waste to energy plants all over the country, and availability of waste is a challenge. So, there's a bit of a paradox where we are seeing there's a lot of waste that is being generated, while you are saying availability of waste is a challenge. So, can you just explain what you mean by availability of waste and how we can address that challenge?
Yeah, so if you see the waste hills, you can or the mountains across, you can say it's covering Delhi. Then you may be feeling that a lot of waste is available, so we can enter to this field and we can able to do a lot of work. Okay, so practically we have seen a lot of places, even the big cities also. See here, what is happening is there is a proper segregation system should be done. Okay, that means in some of the cities like the Indore Municipal Corporation, where even we have installed the Bio CNG project. So there, what is happening is there will be a door-to-door collection, and it is a source segregated two-bin system, wet and dry. And all the wet will come to the Bio CNG projects and compost, and dry will go to the material recovery facility, and then it will go for either RDF and other further processing. Okay, so here the question is whether it's a source segregated. So you know very well how it is happening. So if it is a source segregated, 100% sure there won't be any issues in availability of the waste. Okay, but since it is a not source segregated and people are not showing much interest, see, as per SWM 2016, now the waste has to be source segregated by who is generating the waste. So previously, as Mr. Qasba was mentioning, that it may be with the users that finally where it is landing he has to do. Now, why this all this rotten smell and other things also coming is actually there is no source segregation. The waste comes with 70 to 80% of moisture, and then the incinerator plant they cannot able to incinerate with that high moisture content. Okay, so if there is a segregation, then you please send all these wet waste to the Bio CNG projects. 100% we can able to process it. If there is any mix, that is what I'm saying. In case there is a 30, 40 or 50% mix also, now we have the technology. You need not to touch the waste. I can 100% assure you that even one of the projects now we are installing in Greater Chennai Corporation. It is in out of the city. So there we are doing all automation. So that once the waste comes, automatically it fed into the hopper. From the hopper, it will go to the automatic bio extractor. Then the bio extracted waste will be sent to the digesters, and whatever the RDF material, that is whatever is the non-digestible material, we are segregating automatically, that without any manual interaction. So if we go for these kind of projects, then there won't be any issue. So the classic example is we got the land in middle of the Chennai city. You know, it's very costly. Then also corporation has given, and they asked us to show the technology which will not create any issue to the locals, and it should be one of the kind in India. So now we have taken the challenge and we are doing this activity in Chennai. So if this comes, I can invite even everybody to come and visit our projects and see how it will be. So the main thing what I want to say is here the segregation is the key in India, but everywhere these kind of projects we cannot install with high capex and all those things. Once we insist on SWM 2016 rule, then waste availability will not be a problem. And now you see, now we are installing a projects in Punjab. So where this based on the stubble burning, there is a paddy straw. But of course, the people they are just burning it. When you want to collect it and bring it, the cost involvement is very high. And moreover, the window it's a 40 days window. Within that, you have to collect all your agricultural waste for your 1 year feed. If, for example, it's a 100 ton per day capacity, then you need to have minimum say some 3,600 to 4,000 tons. You need to have the waste. But this much waste you need to store it. That means agricultural product you have to store it. From the storage you have to bring it to your site and then process it again. So we can able to take the technological challenge, but supply chain challenge is very high in India. And once it is established, what is happening is the people try to jack the price. So, for example, initially now, frankly speaking, you can able to get it within a lower price, maybe 1,500 rupees per ton paddy straw in Punjab and other areas. But once you start working on that and you are depending on that local area of say 5 to 10 kilometers, then people start increasing the price. Then you have to search for other alternative feedstock like a press mud, or you have to go for any other maize, corn, or other that is a waste, that is a stock. All those things you have to go. So my humble suggestion is that if the government enforces the law based on this SWM 2016 rule, this MSW project will be a highly successful one. That is for sure. And similarly, if they can make some supply chain arrangement in northern states like where Punjab and Haryana, then entrepreneurs 100% sure they will invest for the projects. We have a lot of investors, but we are not able to put any projects there. So especially in this situation.
So,
Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Subash. I think highlighting the segregation issue that has been a common thread in this discussion. But that will require a lot of behavioral change, IEC communication to all the citizens to segregate waste. Then we'll also need to have the municipal corporations to have the infrastructure to collect segregated waste. So, if they are going to collect segregated waste and put in the same vehicle and mix it back, then the entire purpose is lost. So I think there is a responsibility at the citizen end. There has to be a responsibility at the municipal corporation end to address this issue. But on the challenge of getting scale, do you have rightly pointed out, and which is very important, that in the agricultural market where it is a seasonal waste, storage becomes a big case. So that is something that we will need to find a solution to. On the commercial viability part, Dr. Qasba, what is your sense? Do you require subsidies to make this thing viable? And do we have the right frameworks for having the power purchase agreements with the utilities? And how do you solve that issue?
Although thank you, Akshay. Although myself and Subhaji, I come from the civil service, and Subhaji is the hardcore technical expert. But I find a synergy of ideas. We think almost on similar lines, that there are issues with regard to the availability of the biomass, and especially this seasonal availability of these paddy straws or wheat stubbles. And I think it would change. Markets are so dynamic. If today we are saying that you throw the waste, give it to the municipalities, the day people realize that we are generating power, I tell you, nobody would give you. There will be unions, there will be consortiums, there will be all sorts of mala committees who would say, now we would sell our waste because you are generating electricity out of it. I think rules have to be reviewed to the extent that all these parameters have to be taken into consideration. Then enforcement is very important. Above all, we are a country, we all are disciplined. Majority of us are very disciplined people, and if we understand there are rules, and in fact I remember during my times we used to file an FIRs under municipal corporation rules for littering, for littering outside the homes. And we challened many people, and in fact people had to hire a lawyer to represent them in the court. So there has to be innovation. But I would, as I yesterday also mentioned, that industry will have to also do a brainstorming. Like we have the Niti Ayog. Niti Ayog has to be given a right perspective of things. Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Ministry of Urban Development, industry will have to feed them with the right ideas, right issues, which could be
Fine,
addressed.
sir.
Now, as for Dr. Subash said, I would be very happy to see his Chennai
Fine, fine.
facility.
Thank you,
Sure, sir.
sir. And I will ask the attendees to share the questions in the question box. We have got one question. Before we take that question, I would just ask Mr. Shete to give his perspective on commercial viability of the projects for waste to energy. What does Praj Industries think on the commercial viability of this? And do you require any strict comments from this?
A very quick comment is there are two types of waste today prevailing in the country. The first one is organized waste, which probably waste or product, which probably comes from, let's say, industries. It is well accumulated. It is well benchmarked for its price or value. It could be pressed mud. It could be spent wash, distillery waste, or other organic streams. And it is readily available in sufficient quantities to install a plant which will run all 365 days a year to generate energy. It could be gas or it could be electricity, combined heat and power, etc. We see an excellent viability with project IRRs running in the broad range of about 13 to 14% on the lower side, up to as high as 17 to 18%. Means the payback period ranges between 3 to 4 years. Now, when I look at the two unorganized challenging wastes, and we talked about MSW, and I spent considerable time, more than 2 months, studying a plant of our collaborator in US, which works on MSW. The whole idea was to understand the pre-segregation and the costs involved. And I can say that unless our outlook as a society and as regulators, policymakers, changes to a reality that the processing cost for waste, if it is 100 rupees, the collection and segregation cost will also be 100 rupees. Then we have to install a proper mechanical as well as humanly organization to manage that, segregate that. If that is not done, the waste management plants or energy generation plants will be always vulnerable to very high fluctuations in terms of their productivity, and they will not return back or break even. So this is a key hurdle. Indur is a good example where now almost 400 tons of municipal sludge waste in a well segregated manner will be processed by a company. So that's something which is going to be a reality, because we have taken considerable efforts in designing the pre-systems there. And there is an outlet which is also commercially well tied up in terms of its distribution. The third section is biomass, and I can only say that after experiencing the entire design and establishment of 4 large plants based on rice straw to produce bioethanol, and now we're doing CBG plants in Punjab and Haryana and UP. Yes, today there is no utilization, therefore there is no value for this feedstock. Last 5 years, we worked with IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, and a very large team from the agronomy side as well as the farm mechanization side has now, completely scaled up the technology to economically harvest it, bale it, bring it to the site, look into the storage, and also a reasonable fixed price given or remuneration given to the farmer per hectare depending on the yield. And I can only say that all included, now the biomass feedstock seems to be well organized if these systems are followed. I can very simply cite back to an example of biodiesel somewhere in 2002-03, and it was said that non-edible oils will be used, so Jatropha could be a good source. It anyway lies in jungle, so much of seed is available, and it is available at 5 to 10 paisa per kilogram from the Adivasis. The moment there was this drive and everybody came to know that now there are going to be Jatropha-based biodiesel plants, the same seed started selling at 11 to 12 rupees a kilogram. And we have to understand that economics will have its own play, and we will have to make it reasonable, satisfying every stakeholder in terms of value, and this chain can definitely be established. India has always done that. It takes time. It takes some kind of what we call in Hindi as prabodhan. But once it is done, I think these are manageable things. So plants will become viable. Today we are doing 100 to 150 tons per day utilization of rice straw or other biomass in CBG plants, compressed biogas, and up to 400 tons per day for bioethanol plants. And now the mechanism seems to be well in place. So these are some of my thoughts I thought I would share with you.
Thank you, Mr. Shete, for the very illuminating comments. So we attendees, if you have any questions, please send your queries on as a message or raise your hands, and we can direct you to the panelist for your query. So we don't have any question other than question on from Amlan on the waste to energy market to Dr. Subash. The comment is on how do you ensure the integrity of the waste to energy plants when you have different kinds of waste coming in to your facility. So how do you ensure uh, are your plants able to carry different kinds of waste, or they need to have a particular kind of waste for its treatment?
See, I understand that the question is that MSW, how you are handling,
Yes.
correct? Yeah. See, initially we used to have like we were much dependent on the municipal corporation that they have to provide us the segregated waste. Okay, so even the bio CNG projects, that is a biogas plant will work only with the organic material. So we need to have the 100% segregated waste. So we can avoid some issues at the plant level. But at present, again blaming municipal corporation and others, and what you call it creates a lot of issues only. Okay, so what we thought is, why don't we put a mechanism that it can able to do the automatic segregation in case of any plastic bottles or plastics or any fibers content material or even coconut shells, these kind of items. So these things usually now what is happening is manually you have to segregate. Okay, so the manual segregation means involving the manpower and hygiene condition, health condition. These are all the question marks. So we thought, why don't we employ a technology which can take care of this? So that is what this Chennai project, what I was saying is, in case there is a mix of plastics or a coconut shell or any of the fiber material, even these banana leaves kind of things and paper cups, so whatever it comes in that, or small, what do you call, even these maybe cloth or the napkin or sanitary things, whatever it comes. So we have the system, it can take care of the, what do you call, it will extract the bio, that means the pulp out of the waste, and it will feed to the digester, and whatever the other innards or the non-usable things will be segregated automatically. Okay, so in that case, if there is a mix, so we can able to handle it. So the technology is available, we are implementing that. So maybe I think February first week or second week we are going to inaugurate the project here in Chennai. So then I think we can put some videos on that, then people can see on that, or they can be in touch with me. So I think I have another more session. So there you can see something I'm going to present
Okay,
also.
thank you, Dr. Subash. So we are coming to the end of the session. So I will just ask every panelist to give three things that they want to see in the waste to energy sector. Just 30 seconds, three things that your wish list for this sector. Dr. Subash, you can start. Very brief, three things.
Yeah, my wish list is, as I said, the enforcement of law from the government and allocation of some lands and other things. And third one is the awareness among the people. We have to create awareness with the people that it will not harm them, and it's a proper technology deployed, and they no need to worry of that. And even what I can say is, even we can 100% guarantee if any investors or entrepreneurs coming into that we can able to give return record rates, that is returns and everything. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shete, three wish lists from you.
Yes.
Quick.
The first and foremost is the support coming from the elected corporations or the local administrative bodies to essentially segregate and manage this. And a lot of money would have to go in mechanization of it as well as the logistics of it. That's a very key thing. And this can come in the form today. World Bank is supporting, SBI is supporting. I think if proper schemes are implemented, this is feasible. Second wish list is that the central government, especially I would name three ministries: MOPNG, the Agriculture Ministry, and Environment Ministry. A very clear active task force, because it is not only going to generate you energy, it is also going to generate a lot of valuable co-products like organic manures, which recycle a lot of nutrition back to the soil. Right permitting, right policy interventions is second thing. Together, these ministries can always guide and bring the rules accordingly. Third important thing is the outlook. Subsidies are not sustainable. And the key issue over here is the technology, which makes it viable in terms of its productivity, initial capex which is required, and so let this be a level playing field for both private sector as well as the joint sector or government sector, where there should be promotion of viability, techno-commercial feasibility, and subsidies should very pinpointedly support only till a period. And Germany is a very good example, where at 10 years period where they subsidized by providing special pricing for electricity, etc., and slowly withdrawn it. What happened was, were taken, there came about 15,000 plants. When the subsidies were withdrawn, how become non-viable? So they merged together, and 9,000 plants are today working without any support but viable. This, I think, is the only sustainable model. So these are the three, I think, critical things which will bring it into a reality.
So thank you, Mr. Shetty, for those illuminating comments. Dr. Qasba, three things from your side. 30 seconds for you, sir.
I think what's important is that that rules of 2016 are revisited, and these are revisited after a brainstorming, after there's a lot of noise in background
Mr.
noise.
Shetty, can you go on mute, please?
Now, if there is a consortium between industry, the government of India, and the municipal corporations, the issues which are emerged out of implementing of these 2016 rules, which we have now seen over a period of 5-6 years, we have lots of experience, and these needs to be revisited. And technologies wherever are successful, and these should be showcased in a big way as a national missions, so that the other states understand that these technologies viable and are very cost effective, and have to be subsequently supported, as Mr. Shetty mentioned, by the federal support, and at least for next 5 years. Thank you.
So thank you all for your comments. And if I were to summarize,
One thing, I forgot.
sure, sir.
Waste management has to be, waste management, processing, producing of any gas or anything has to be made like any other industrial activity. And in case we are able to address the order control, I think any industrial estate will have huge infrastructure, both small and big, coming up. This order control has to be discussed in greater detail. Technologies need to be identified for that.
So thank you for that important element that you highlighted. So if I have to really summarize this discussion on waste to energy, the first thing that is there, the waste is getting generated, and that is real. And I think that has to be disposed of in a very scientific manner. and whatever costs that have to be there for this disposal, they have to be borne. Because waste management has such positive externalities. It said that for every 1 rupee spent, you have 9 rupees benefit in terms of the health, good environment. So I think looking at financial viability purely from a cash flow perspective is not correct. You'll have to look at the positive externalities. But the reality is that we require finances, and we have to find ways to make it financially viable also. And it's very encouraging that the industry is talking about that it can be viable if their waste is made available in the right way. Now, availability of waste can come from households if they are made aware and to segregate waste, to manage waste better, and to reduce waste also. It is not just about waste generation, but reducing and recycling is also the order of the day. On the municipal government side, we have to see that they are also disciplined, that they can find people, but we also need to make them accountable, that they are able to carry and collect the waste in the right way and transport it to the dump site or the landfill site in the right manner. That's the important part. We also recognize that waste to energy requires economies of scale. It is just not one city's waste that can needs to be treated, and there are smaller towns which may not find it feasible to have a waste to energy plant. So maybe having something of a cluster basis is very important, and cluster basis will mean that it's just not the local government, but a larger form of government or the state government coming together and taking its preeminent role to having a common waste to energy plant. So that gives scale and viability to the private producers. On the central government side, I think we have Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. We need subsidies to start with, and that can be one way to give a kickstart to this process. So, on this note, on a very encouraging note, from a very positive side from the industry, where there is a technology, there is a solution to the problem. It is just that all stakeholders, right from the generators to the municipal government, the state government, and central government, and the industry have to work in close harmony for this achievement to be successful. Waste to energy is a possibility, good thing, but we have to recognize that waste has to be disposed of at any cost, and that cost cannot prohibit us not to dispose of the waste, because undisposed waste has a larger cost that the society will have to bear. With this note, I would conclude this session. I thank all the panelists for sparing their time and illuminating the audience on such a very critical issue, and thanking the organizers to highlighting organizing this, which has been done in a very great way, and getting this topic on the agenda for discussion. Thank you, and wish you a great day and a great session in the coming hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Abhijit, for
Thank you.
concluding and moderating the session. And thank you, Dr. Qasba, Dr. Subash, and Mr. Shete for joining us for the session. And I would like to thank Dr. Shukla also who joined us. And right after that, we are taking a very short break. And after that, we will be joined for the next sessions from our industry experts. Till then, I would request all the attendees to join us and to visit the arena zone, where they will get a chance to visit sponsors and exhibits to directly interact them on one-to-one meeting facilitation. Till then, we will join again at 11:45 with the next set of presentations. Till then, please network, so because we have created this platform to make you feel like a physical event that we are doing online from the comfort of your space. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again at 11:45.